You're not old enough to know that song.
I've heard plenty of music.
Not that one though.
Whoa!
Minute Man.
Energy drink.
Oh,
Welcome to Uber Tales. Don't shoot the driver.
But it is okay to shoot Josh.
I'll take it.
With the camera. Lots of girls do it. They shoot Josh with the camera. I gotta
bad,
remember
Bobby.
him.
That doesn't sound right, Bobby.
It doesn't?
No.
Hey, come here. I need to get a selfie with you. How many
Yeah,
selfies do you do
we'll
with
go with
the
that, selfies.
How many selfies do you get with the
Oh, God.
with the passengers? Come on,
God.
Josh. Come on.
I don't know. I can't say.
I couldn't say every other ride. You're
Something like
cute. Can I get a picture with
Right.
you?
That I'll just keep to myself.
Keep to myself. He's so private, Brad.
He is.
Joshua's so private. Why in the hell are you doing a show about talking about your stuff out here? Well,
Right.
welcome to the show, everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
And moving on, welcome to the show. Don't forget, please call us and tell us, how you feel about the show. If you have some insight to a cool story or some craziness out there that you've been in Uber, you're a driver, what have you. Hey, if you want to be on the show, call us 801-999-8098. Ooh-chaka. We should make a jingle of that. 801 999-8098. It's so simple I can't remember it.
Clearly.
Anyway, give us a call and leave us are we checking that number?
Absolutely.
You are?
I do. I don't know
We
about
check
you
it
two
every day.
fuckers.
Yeah.
I don't check it.
I check it.
You check it too?
Yeah.
Well, obviously nobody's calling then because you guys would tell me, dude, somebody actually called.
Well, we did have
They
that
told
one.
us to F off,
Yeah.
but whatever. Oh, you did have one?
Yeah,
Was
don't
it
you
a
remember?
screw you or?
No, it was a fun one, but yeah, we'll get into
we'll
that
get
later.
into it later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so
Anyways.
today we're going to be talking to the Bradster. You have a story for us today, a
I
story
do.
of mental health, of mental problems, of
Something like that.
mentalness.
The guy in the back seat was fucking crazy. No.
I thought this was about Brad.
Hey, that's the back seat,
Brad's
not
going
the
through
front seat.
mental health.
It's the bag
I
seat.
haven't quite hit my midlife crisis yet, but it's coming.
Oh, yeah, I passed that.
Did ya?
Midlife crisis, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
See what you got to look forward to, Joshua?
Yep.
I see it. I see the death
beautiful
in your eyes.
Wow. Wow. Okay, then.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, me too, man. I ain't, yeah, you're only as old as you
You feel?
As you feel.
think you are.
There you go.
Because I
Sure.
feel
There you go.
old. But anyway.
enough.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the story. Is there anything else we need to talk about as far as people out there? You could also send an email if you're afraid to leave a
Yeah.
message.
If you don't want to...
Ubertales podcast
At
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Feel free to do that. We've had some few messages. A lot
have.
of them is, hey, keep up the work. We're having fun listening.
We are. I'm actually... We're trying to get somebody on, too. I think it's quite interesting. I mean, this guy that we're trying to get on, he actually had a knife pulled on him.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I'm hoping we can get that worked
By
out.
a chick.
By a chick, of all things,
Yeah.
yeah. And it wasn't like a little one. It was fucking big.
Big old buck knife.
Yeah.
It wasn't a little one, and it was a big one.
Yeah.
So, not Josh.
I knew it was coming.
Right?
You
know.
cut your pow. His hair's looking good. You haven't said anything about his hair.
You
Yeah,
know what?
come on,
He
boys.
didn't pull the something about Mary, so I mean, I didn't need to,
My
It's not
toupee's
quite
on
as
point
high as
today.
always.
right?
Got to get those couple extra inches. You know, however we can.
Okay.
They
Don't-
matter.
I don't like my average hair height.
A couple inches matter.
Right.
All right, Mr. Brad, tell us about what was going on that day.
Yeah, so this is a ride that I recently had within the last week. I took a guy this past weekend, and I don't want to call him middle age, but I'll call him Josh's age, in his 30s, early 30s. He was dealing with some mental health issues. So I started the ride. I picked him up in Salt Lake City. Ended up taking him to the hospital for mental health.
So what was going on? Where did you pick him up, and what did he look like when he got in the car? I mean, I'm just curious. So you drove up to, was it a house? Were you?
Yeah, so I actually picked him up downtown. He was just
Downtown Salt Lake.
kind of like at a restaurant, just picking him up from the restaurant, and he knew that he was dealing with some issues. So
he knew he was dealing with. What does that mean? He knew he knew he was dealing with some issues.
so he had told me that he had been struggling with mental health.
So he got in the car. I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
you're
so
going quick. So I'm just he
You're
gets in
good.
the car.
So we start out,
He just says, "Hey, dude, I'm dealing with some mental problems right now.
I might shoot you. I might stab you.
Just know I may
Dealing
go
with some
off."
shit.
I mean, what happened?
yeah.
He got in the car. Did he seem depressed? Did he seem down? Was he kind of?
No, I mean, he was kind of talkative, but I mean, you could tell he was anxious. So he gets in my car. I don't know where I'm going because, Uber doesn't tell you kind of where you're going. So I click to start the ride. I start the ride, and I see where we're going. It's a mental health clinic. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I ask him my general, hey, how's it going? How you doing? And that's when he kind
What
of
does he
started
look
launching
like?
into me.
What does he look like?
Middle-aged, 31, white guy, probably like you, Bobby,
Fit,
with,
not
with,
he had a
Josh's, with
goatee?
Josh's hair.
He had a goatee. And he had a goatee.
He did. Well,
Oh,
he had that 5 o'clock shadow.
Was
Oh.
So yeah,
Was he fit? Was he not fit?
Yeah,
Was he?
yeah.
He was
bigger
average
guy?
build.
Average build.
average build,
Average height. So not like me.
No, well, I didn't want to say that, but above average height.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
Paint the picture good enough?
I guess.
I'm super average height, just so you know. I'm
You
not
are.
short. I'm
You are.
super average.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. All right.
I'm always above average in everything.
I don't know about that.
Everything.
So he's in the back there. He's sitting there. He seems
Yeah,
like a
I mean,
normal
so like I said,
person. It's just a.
he's
and
kind
you're
of
doing your
anxious,
thing.
and he's kind of just there. So my standard questioning, I ask him, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? He says, well, I'm doing okay. I mean, kind of dealing with some stuff and this and that. So it's like, oh, really? So what's going on? Just trying to learn about the guy.
So somebody says just a lot of stuff, and you kind of go into, hey, I want to listen to
Yeah.
you mode. I want to understand you and just be a friend.
Be there. Be able to just listen from a person of no interest, or just listening to somebody, just being there to be able to help him and listen.
We've talked about this before. It's kind of like the beautician or the bartender.
Yep.
People just want to naturally
Just
kinda
talk.
talk to you guys.
Yeah, well, and I
find
think
that fascinating.
it is. I mean, I think there's a dynamic where people feel more comfortable opening up to a complete stranger than their own family or their own friends, because they don't want to feel judged, or they don't want to feel like they're letting people down or whatever. So
You're never going to see this person
No,
again.
exactly.
So.
It never ties to you.
as Uber drivers, we see so much like that. It's crazy, some of the stories and things
Yep.
we hear, and that's why we launched the podcast, is because we do see these, and we want to shed light on issues like this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what happened? So you're talking.
So talking to him, he said, he was kind of anxious. So I got to learn a little bit about the guy. He was dealing with some suicidal thoughts, dealing with not feeling good enough, not being able to provide for his family. So
Did he not have a job? And
he did
stuff?
have a job.
But
He
just felt overwhelmed.
times
with life,
are hard.
like so many of us.
So he's feeling overwhelmed, feeling like he just can never play catch up. So through this whole conversation, I mean, the ride was like a 7-minute ride, so it wasn't very far. But through him telling me all of these things, I was able to just be there and listen and tell him I'm proud that he's getting help. I applaud him. I know that mental health issues can be a really big thing, and it's awesome that he's getting help. I understand and know that he's got a family. He's got
So
two,
he did have. He has a
does.
family,
Yep. So he's
wife.
got 2 boys. He didn't tell me if he was married or not, but he did say he had 2 kids. One, I think, like 7 and like 4. So really, really wanted to be there for his
We
kids.
hear too many men like that leave
Absolutely.
this planet because of stress, and I mean it's an epidemic right now.
Exactly.
It
Well,
literally is.
It is, and so many people, and especially men, are raised to not talk about their mental struggles, or they're taught to be tough and just power through it. When so many times I think that we need to open up, we need to talk about these issues, because you're human. It does affect you. It is something that your mind can play tricks on you, and you need to make sure that you're understanding the situation for what it is and not making a bigger deal out of something that can potentially be solved.
Yeah. So how did it go? He just kind of told you his not life story, but he kind of opened up to you.
We didn't really get much time to get into it like that, but he was able to kind of just confide in me and say, like I said, he is having some mental issues, dealing with struggling to keep up and from a financial perspective, and wanting to make sure that he's there for his kids. I kind of got the feeling too that there was a little bit of like substance abuse in there as well. So I think that kind of tied into it from his past. So just kind of feeling overwhelmed and knowing that there are ways to release that aren't necessarily a good thing. So
what was his mental health issue? What was he like struggling with?
Did he say
suicide? Was it?
It was suicide. So I mean, he had told me that he had suicidal thoughts, and he had attempted in the past. So he wanted to make sure that
he attempted in the past.
He did
with two boys.
With two boys. He didn't. I don't know if he did it before he had kids, but he did say that he had tried in the past.
I always find it interesting when they say, I'm worried about being there for my kids and stuff, but then suicide is definitely leaving your kids.
Right.
So I've always, it's a hard one. I mean, I kind of, but I also get it, because then you just don't have to worry about anything anymore, because it seems like it's a conflict, but I also kind of get it. I think we get into a situation where, you know what, I just don't want to have worries about all of this stuff anymore. I'm so overwhelmed. I know if there's people out there listening that have those thoughts where I just, you know what, I just don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to be disconnected from it. And then if you feel like, if you don't have an afterlife, if you don't believe in a God or whatever, then you're just done, and then you don't have to worry about anything anymore, and nothing matters.
Exactly. I mean, I get that, but I mean, from living in this life, we only have one life, and we need to make sure
unless we get reincarnated.
Well, yeah, living life.
This one.
I guess, yeah. I mean, you may come back as a...
Sorry, I'm just throwing...
I don't know. You may come back as one of those hairs on Josh's head. Who the hell knows?
Right.
You'd be damn fortunate. Okay? Take good care of this hair. All right?
Clearly.
You know what I think? My personal opinion, if I can, on all of this, people hyper focus and hyper fixate on whether it be money or their relationship or the lack of things that they don't have, whatever it is. But to me, it's perspective, and it's also know-how. There's a lot of people that get where Bobby was saying simply because they don't know how to achieve what they want, whether it's more money or it's more whatever success in whatever format that looks like. Maybe even physical fitness is like success in their eyes. Maybe they've always been like the fat person. They got bullied for it, and maybe that's their issue. Mm-hmm. They don't know how do I get from here to there. And I feel that what most people need is to focus less on what they don't have and more of that figuring out
how to get to the next place.
Yeah, because if anyone in this world has a problem, they come to you and it's like, oh, it's tearing me up inside. I want to die. I feel dead and whatever, and you tell them, okay, well, if you do this, this, and this, you'll get there, to what you want,
which will take you out of where
you're at now. I think that's probably one of the main issues with people is that they just don't see a way out. They don't see, they say it's not possible. It's not for me. Maybe him, maybe her, but not for me. I'm stuck here and I'm always going to be here, and that's why I've got no options left. You got to give them more options.
You do.
I think that is really interesting. I'm reading a book right now called Willpower Doesn't Work. Mm-hmm. And it talks about how the problem with addiction and things like that is you get in the same environment. And if you stay in that environment, you won't get out.
I agree with that. I mean, I think
same thing with this situation.
You need to change your situation.
Why he was going to get help and stuff. If you don't get out of wherever you're at, you're going to be worse. So and the sad thing with depression is you don't want to move.
You don't.
But if you can move, if you can just go one step different, you can make a change. And that's easy to say, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely.
So people, anyway.
I mean, I think it's often way too easy to say, yes, I need to do this, but actually making the change is the hard part.
That is the hard part.
But once you start to do it, it makes that next step even easier and easier and easier. So
did he say anything about why? I'm always curious why a person does go get help instead of like following through or committing suicide.
I wish he did, but we didn't have that much time to get into it. But I know this was a short ride and I don't have as many details as I normally do, but I thought this was such an interesting topic that we needed to talk about it. We needed to create awareness of it.
Topic.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like we already said, I mean, so many men, and not even men, but so many people in the world struggle with trying to be good enough or not good enough.
Especially now.
Absolutely.
In this day and age.
With social media telling you need to be a certain way or have this
Everybody
or have
looks
that.
this way and all perfect and
I think from a societal perspective, we're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole of depression, of anxiety, of more mental health issues that we're creating above ourselves.
Yeah.
I recently was reading something and I can't remember what it was, but there's a stat out there that says 85% of what you're manifesting as bad things that you think will happen, 85% of them never come true.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, how much are people thinking about what they think is going to happen or think to be the outcome, and it's not actually the outcome, but they're stressing themselves out over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is powerful, and I'm glad you brought this up. I know you it's something that just kind of made you think. We don't have a big story around
we don't.
the ride, but just made, Brad came in here very aware of that whole issue, and we hear it a lot right now. It's a big deal. Lots of people are leaving this world early.
Absolutely.
And it literally is an epidemic.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is, I mean, people shouldn't be ashamed or shouldn't feel bad to get help, because at the end of the day, it's something that can save your life. It's something that it's simple. It's something so simple as just being able to say, "Hey, I need help. I don't know what to do." Having somebody in your corner, or having somebody to just say, "Hey, I got your back," or "Hey, I tell me what's going on." Even from an Uber perspective, I mean, I think that's something that's huge that we can provide.
And also to know that you're not alone.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of us that have thoughts and worries and are worried about their lives and struggles. Yep. I think sometimes we get in this little space of, nobody understands where I'm at, and I'm I'm worse off and bad, worse than everybody else. And if we just understand, no, we all have our challenges and our problems. If you can just move to a little bit different spot than where you're at, it could save your life. And if you're listening and somebody out there, I mean, just do something a little different to move yourself from where you're at. That can make all the difference.
Well, not only that, but if you have a friend or have a group of close friends, it's okay to confide in them, or not even that. But if you're that friend, check in on your friend. If you see that they're having issues, if you see that they're stressed about life, or if this or that, check in with them.
Yeah,
just be there for them.
I just recently had an acquaintance, and he had talked about he had went through a divorce and he was going through some really hard times, and he was in the process of figuring out how to end his life.
Oh, wow.
And his brother calls him, and that night he was figuring out how he was just going to be done. And his brother calls him and says, "Hey, let's go out and have some fun. You need to have some fun." And he said, his brother basically saved his life.
Wow. Little brother or big brother?
A little brother.
It's always a little brother taking care of the big brother.
I don't know about that.
But I just, you never know how that will affect someone.
You don't know.
And just getting them to move somewhere else to a different space. And it changed his whole perspective, going out with his brother and just having a good time, completely changed. And it's so crazy how simple sometimes this stuff is. That doesn't mean he's not going to get back in that space again, but at least put him somewhere where he can move forward, or where he could change his mindset, that maybe he knows he needs help.
Exactly.
He needs to go to a facility or what have you.
Just opens a new door sometimes, and we get locked in such confined spaces in our minds or in our lives. We're just like, this is what it is. It's never going to change. I'm stuck here, And it's those little things that come and just break it and make kind of a new way. And that's what I was saying. Like, we need something new, to get out of the old. And if you don't, that's how I think this stuff starts to bog you down, and you just feel trapped.
And I want to say, if maybe you don't, or you think you don't have anybody in your life that can help you out, there's plenty of other places where you can get assistance. And I want to talk about the 988 thing.
Absolutely. Well, I was just going to say, just call Josh. I mean, I got no problem giving him his number.
His number.
That's how you fuck off.
You just call 801-999-8098, and then we'll forward it to Josh.
Absolutely.
You guys,
he gets
and he'll call you back.
I will call you back. I will. If you call,
it may take a day or two, but he'll call you back.
I might be a little late. If someone personally calls and they want to talk to me, and they're going through whatever, I will humor them. I will talk to them. I'll reach out to them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if I would talk to Josh, though.
I'm totally going to call
He'd probably
Josh
tell him
now.
to do it.
Hell no. I wouldn't.
Josh has a bigger
Yeah,
heart
your
than
life
that,
sucks.
I guess.
Just end it.
Oh, that's you, Brad. You're deflecting.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
Although we know that's bullshit too, because you were connecting with that person.
Exactly.
We make light, but hey, sometimes you do have to make light because life is too serious.
Yeah, it is a serious subject in all fairness. But
sometimes we do need to lighten up.
Hopefully this put a smile on somebody's face, or
at least made them more self-aware.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Think, hey, and if nothing else, there's 3 assholes that will talk to me, in this world, and that number is 801-999-8098. So there's another resource.
Well, no, there's only 2, because Bobby already said he doesn't check it.
There's only 2.
And then you're gonna be late, so fuck it's on me.
I do want to say though, if you feel like maybe we're not the ones to talk to, the 988 number.
Correct.
So I find it super fascinating, and just to give everybody a heads up, we actually called the number just to understand how that whole process works. It was super simple. So if you're out there and you just need somebody to talk to, you don't have family you want to talk to, or anybody, or you didn't have an Uber driver recently to talk to, call that 988 number. It's everywhere. It's super, and this is in the U.S. of course. So if you're somewhere else, but in the U.S. 988, and the process, it took us how long to get to a real person?
Not even 30 seconds.
Less than a minute.
Yeah.
It was like 45 seconds, because they have a few different prompts. So
they different language.
And then like LGBTQ community. So if you need help with something like that, then they said, if you need help, press 0 or stay on the line and somebody will be with you.
Yep.
And from that point, it was maybe 15 seconds. And then somebody came on.
So if you just need somebody to talk to, and sometimes that's what you need.
That's all you need.
Somebody outside of your circle that you can just tell
whatever
things that you won't be judged for, or anything like that. Sometimes that's what you need. And that number, that's what it's all for. It's just somebody to talk to. I love it that we as a human race are doing things like that.
Absolutely.
That will assist each other, this giving piece. So 988, and that's literally, if you're on your cell or something, just like you would call 911 for an emergency, 988 gets you to a hotline so you can talk to someone, not just about suicidal thoughts, but also depression or any of those things, where if you just need to talk to somebody and not have to worry about being judged or thought of as, something's wrong with you because you're in our sphere of influence or what have you.
And please
reach out.
So we did read a little bit on that too. Weren't they saying, like, even if you're struggling with like something as simple as like alcohol,
alcohol, drugs, use concerns, or just need someone to talk to. So this is actually from the 988 hotline website. At 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, we understand that life's challenges can sometimes be difficult. Whether you're facing mental health struggles, emotional distress, alcohol or drug use concerns, or just need someone to talk to, our caring counselors are here for you. You're not alone. I love that that's an option.
So not only can you call, you can actually even text the number too. So if maybe you don't feel like talking to somebody, just text 988 and say, "Hey, I've got this going on." They'll be there for you, and they'll reply back and they'll help you. So there are ways around it other than just calling if you don't feel comfortable calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really serious episode.
It is.
And
It is.
I'm glad that we're open enough to be idiot goofballs that then can talk about serious things and get it out there.
Create some goodness in the
I
world.
hope that just if one person listens to this show and they just they needed a pick me up and they needed something to do, maybe they'll call 988 and do something. That to me it's worth doing this dumbass show to
Oh, absolutely.
for that.
Dumbass show. Wow. Hey, what's up, dumbass number 1? Dumbass number 2?
Number 3. Yeah. Dumbass in a sports
Right.
coat.
Dumbass in a sports coat.
Dumbass with a toupee.
I figured I'd lighten it up a little bit, but
Right.
I'm glad you brought this up, Brad, and I find it really fascinating that you guys as
Absolutely.
drivers really get to see the whole world and kind of the whole community of folks.
Absolutely.
I
And
find it fascinating.
I mean, I know we kind of talked about this earlier, but like as Uber drivers, I mean, we are therapists. We're people's best friends at times. We hear things and see things that people won't always share with somebody close to them. So if like you said, Bobby, if doing this show can provide some sort of peace of mind to help somebody out in a bad situation, I'm all for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Same.
Absolutely. And if you don't want to call the 988, just go grab an Uber.
Right.
Start talking to the guy
Yeah.
or girl, whoever's driving. Now,
Maybe not.
all-
They may not be all
yeah,
good people.
not all of them. Probably not all of them.
Some
are
don't
good.
even talk.
Some
Some
don't
won't talk, and
might
some are
encourage
serial
you.
killers that
Yeah.
we found
Right.
out.
Exactly.
There was a person that. So I guess,
And hopefully they don't try
probably.
to pull a knife on you.
Yeah, probably you should just stick with calling 988. That might be your best.
Probably.
That might be your
Probably.
best bet. Well, cool. This has been an interesting show. I think you guys got any last words? Do you have any gripes or delights that you want to add on to this whole thing? I know we're jumping off to a different subject, but
Yeah. Well,
Segment.
I mean, yeah, other segment.
you guys have a good way of rolling them around to connect.
Yeah.
You got a gripe?
Well, yeah, no, I'll do a delight since it's already kind of it's a gripey
downer.
episode.
Right.
I don't think it's a gripey episode. Aware episode.
I'll do
It's
a
an
delight.
awareness
piece.
I like when people open up to me about what's going on in their life. I do, because for me it's introspective. It makes me more self-aware about my
learn
own
about
life.
yourself.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
about myself. Like, for example, I'll give a very good example. I was having a terrible day and a terrible night. I won't go into details why, but it was just a really bad day, really crappy night. And I was going to middle of nowhere to pick up a guy, and he's walking on the side. I think I told you about this. He's walking on the side of the streets. This is like 11 at night, I pick him
Early
up.
for you.
Yeah, I
It
guess
is
so. Yeah, 11 at night, pick him up. And as we're going, I always ask the same thing. How's your day going? And he says, oh, mine's going very well. And he's like, how's yours? I was like, oh, mine's going well too. As we start talking, the pleasantries go away. And I was like, actually, my day's been complete shit. And he's like, yeah, mine too. And I was like, oh, do tell. I was like, what's been going on in yours? Because, misery loves company.
Absolutely.
And he was like, so I must have pissed someone off. I came out of the bar and I was walking down that street. And he said someone flew by in a truck and punched me in the side of my eye, in the side of my face.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I looked in the rearview mirror and his whole side of his face is like it's all black. And I was like, oh, I see it. Yeah, I was like, oh, I see it. And he's like, to make matters worse, I just got retina surgery on that eye. He's like, so it's already messed up. And he's like, I really can't see out of it. And I was like,
Damn.
oh my God. And we just both started laughing. I was like, well, I thought I was having a bad day. Nobody's come and clocked me in the side of the face yet. And I was like, dude,
okay.
I don't
He
feel
was
so...
laughing too.
He was laughing too. And I was like, I don't feel so bad. So I do like when people open up, you know, and it's good. It's good for them. It's good for you. And so, you know, from this episode, I hope more people will feel encouraged to open up, and that even if it's with a stranger, everyone's going through something. I was going through stuff that night.
Yeah.
He was going through stuff. You know, we're all going through stuff. You know,
Well, and
we're not
that ties into
strangers
the
to
point.
it.
Yeah, like, I mean, life is hard. I mean, it's okay to feel stress and to feel pressure, but if you don't let it out, it's just going to bottle up, and it needs to come out some way or another.
Yeah.
Hopefully nothing bad happens, but we need to make sure that you have a support system in place to be able to release some of that built up pressure.
Yeah, friends, family,
Exactly.
brothers, you know, sisters.
Joshua
somebody.
Zuber.
You know what? You can if anyone actually gets me while Ubering, you are more than welcome to open up to me about whatever's going on in your life.
That's cool. I think you both feel that way, don't you?
I'll hear it.
I do, but I
out.
don't know if I really believe Josh. He
Why?
says it, but he's kind of like, okay, you told me no, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone.
I don't think that's true.
I get in the trenches.
I
don't
know him
mind.
better than you
I'll
do.
get in the trenches with people.
You guys.
Or you know what he'll do? To be fair, he'll say, "Cool, tell me that in like 5 minutes," and then he won't show up for another 10.
Jesus.
Oh
Christ.
shit! I'm sorry, man. We're at the destination.
Wow.
God.
All right. Do you have any gripes or delights, Brad, or
No,
you
I
feel
mean,
like
yeah.
it's kind of you tail onto that that's
gonna
a
tail
kind
onto
of a
that, yeah.
delight
It is.
when
I
you
mean,
guys like it?
The whole reason I started Ubering was to network and to meet people for my other company. So I love when people are willing to open up and to share and just converse and get to know each other.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's a great way to end this episode. I think
so.
it was powerful, and hopefully the fact that if you're listening and you're feeling that way, maybe you'll do something different and just be aware of your surroundings and people in your life maybe that maybe need a friend. Maybe if you're thinking about it, maybe call that brother or that friend that you haven't talked to for a while that maybe you know has been having some hard times. And that would, you know, you don't know whose life you can change. We are such powerful ripplers in
Absolutely.
this world. You never know what kind of tiny little pebble we can throw in the water and create this huge ripple of change and good connection. So
I agree.
be open to that. If you're listening and maybe you're getting this twinge in your head, you know what? Maybe I'll call Frank. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Or Julie probably needs to hear from me or whatever. So
Or Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby.
I love it when old friends call me.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're not saving their life, but maybe it's just good to know that people care about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, what do you guys think? Any last words from you guys, or are we good?
I think we're good.
We're full.
We're pretty good. I mean, Brad's an asshole. I'll just
Of course.
You
Right?
just
I'll
gotta
always
throw
put that out.
Gotta throw that out.
That's not going anywhere. I already know that.
Last word. Brad's an asshole.
Right.
Let me fit that
Gotta
in real
throw
fast.
that out there. All right. You have been listening to Uber Tales. Don't shoot the driver. We'll see you next time.